Hi, folks. We're back here with the Creative People Show, and I have my friend Derral Reynolds with me today,
Hi, folks.
and we're going to talk a little bit about his experiences and his creativity, and we'll just introduce you. Thanks, Derral, for coming.
Well,
He,
thank you for having me, Stephen.
he is an actor, writer, not just a writer, but an author, a producer, director. What else? Oh, now you're a politician. Oh, don't
Uh-oh.
don't give me the hate mail, okay? That's okay. Well, you're not a politician yet until you actually get elected, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably how it
Is
works.
that how that works?
Many times it's just a wannabe.
All right. Uh, Thanks for coming. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about. First of all, let's go back to your early days, and I know you go way back to Hollywood. Uh,
Yeah, I've
what
been
was
there
what was your
before.
first what was your first film that you were involved in?
Oh, well, I actually had a previous career in commercial construction management, and what kind of set the bug on me is Jake and the Fat Man wanted to come out and film some stunts at one of the high rises we were building, and
Yeah.
so being as I was the manager, I was also oversight for the filming and the construction and keeping all the contractors out of the way.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, yeah, that's kind of cool. So one day, I don't know, probably about 2 months later, I saw an advertisement in the drama log for actors, and I thought it was for extras.
Hmm.
And so my wife and I went down and we auditioned. Turns out they were actually casting the main cast that day, not
Oh.
the extras. And so I got a supporting role, surprisingly. They had no taste. And my wife got a pretty decent role too, as well as the day player.
Wow.
And so we went down and we rehearsed for a while, and this was one of those films like, Biker Babes and, you know,
Yeah.
Girls in Prison, one of those
Uh-huh.
B-rated with a minus on the end of it,
Uh-huh.
But what turned out is after we rehearsed for quite a while,
What was the name of the film?
it was with Bobby Ball Productions, and at the time they hadn't really named it yet.
Oh.
But we did have some pretty good actors on there.
Okay.
The lady that had actually won the role that Bette Midler played in The Rose was there,
Oh. Okay.
but she got kicked off of that role because she had some other problems.
Uh-huh.
So they canceled because Bobby couldn't get the
Oh,
funding.
okay.
Very next day, I got a call from the director.
Yeah. Well, going back to the first thing, that happens a lot in
Oh,
our
yes,
in our
yes.
industry. You go and you film, or you audition, you get a part, you film some of it, and then it just stops all of a sudden, and
Yeah.
nothing happens with it. That happens a lot, but you just gotta chalk it up to experience and say, well, okay, that was fun. Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, and I will add to what Steven said.
Hmm.
This industry is not for people with thin skins because you will get rejected,
Oh yeah.
you'll get kicked in the teeth, you'll lose funding on a project.
Hmm.
It's more for people that are willing to go with the flow and persevere,
Yeah.
stay the course.
Yeah.
And so I got a call from the director,
Uh-huh.
like less than a week later. And he says, "Hey, dude, you want to act on a Newsies movie?" And on a Disney movie called Newsies.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, really? He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Show up down here at Studio City. We've got you set up at the gate. You can come in, bring the kids and the wife and everything, and we're going to give you a haircut for the
Uh-huh.
movie." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, okay."
Did you
So
have long hair back then?
sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It was probably down to about here
Yeah.
back then. But so I went in, and that was our first movie, a big one. And by the way,
Newsies, that was a big budget film.
oh, huge budget, and it's our favorite movie to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even tell you how we love that movie.
Yeah.
And so I went down there. I started out the first day as an extra.
Hmm.
When they started filming, and I was actually, because one of the stuntmen didn't show up, they rolled me into the stuntman position. And it's on the dock where they have those guys jumping into the ocean and swimming
Yeah.
when the Newsy boys come down and start their first dancing.
And what year was that? Early '90s.
Yes, well, I think it was late 90s, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of thing hardly ever happens. I've never seen it happen like that since I started. It's a little more regimented nowadays. You know, they want you to have your experience, your resume, your headshot, your reel, and everything, and then they audition 1,000 people, and when it went down to 20, and then callbacks and so forth like that. It's because there's so much competition nowadays. But that. Did you get screen time in
Oh yeah.
in Newsies?
So and I want to add to what you say there. One of the biggest things for aspiring actors to remember is dependability, workability, so that the people you work with like you.
Oh yeah.
Because you'll find that once you start acting and getting known, that it's a small circle.
Yeah.
You will get more work back from the same people that you actually worked with.
Especially around here, because it's a small area, and believe it or not, there's a lot of films being shot here in Southwest Missouri, short films, feature films, all kinds of things, TV shows, stuff like that. It's mostly independent stuff, because the big budgets are not attracted to come to Missouri because they don't have the tax incentives like other states do. But every once in a while, you'll see something like that happen in Missouri. But we have to travel a lot to go to the bigger markets.
There's an interesting story on Winter's Bone. But back to Newsies. Our whole family worked on Newsies. Yeah. My two boys were part of the Newsies crew, the main crew of Newsie actors. And
the whole crowd of the kids in the...
No, they were part of the main crew.
Oh, yeah.
So they were the extended part of the... I don't know how many Newsies there actually were, 8 or 10. They were in that extended group of Newsies.
Yeah.
And I worked on that set as an actor, as an extra, as a assistant director, as a PA.
Wow.
We worked the entire set, and it took about 90 days to shoot it.
Yeah.
And we worked the entire thing, all of us, between my wife, my kids.
That's a short time for a big budget film like that.
Yeah. Well, out there they kind of get them on a schedule. So what happens is you got pre-production.
10, 12 hours a day.
Oh yeah, there was days I was out there at 2:30 in the morning. You know, when Christian Bale, by the way, made friends with him on that set. He's a great guy.
He was a kid back then.
Yeah. and all the big kid actors were on that movie.
Yeah.
It was the first musical Disney had done in years. It was a restart. Kenny Ortega was the director.
Yeah.
And we worked with him on other films. We worked with him on Hocus Pocus as well. But when Christian Bale does that big dance with the horse and everything, that was done with only 3 people on set and the crew.
Oh, wow.
And that was me and my wife and Christian. And we did that at like 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
It was crazy. But we just had a blast.
Yeah.
And so we went on from there. We worked in a lot of different productions, music videos, movies, TV shows. And talking about the small circle, here's an example.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris and his Walker, Texas Ranger. Okay, so I had worked with the associate director, which became a director with his show later, on a couple other movies. And the kids had as well. We worked on a movie called A Private Matter with Sissy Spacek and Adrian Quinn. And he liked us a lot. And every time they had a movie or anything they were doing, he would call us direct. He didn't call our agent. In fact, probably about 75% of our work were direct calls to me and not to the agent. But she still got her cut. I mean, that's the rule.
Yeah,
but
if you're in that area.
Yep.
Yeah, my agent is in St. Louis, and she's exclusive to the St. Louis area, the greater St. Louis area. So anything outside that, I book myself, which is, like you say, about 75% of the things that I do. Yeah.
Well, and so he called me up one day, and he says, hey, we're moving the set and everything to Texas. We want you guys to come.
Makes more sense to have Walker, Texas Ranger in Texas.
It does. But they offered us a role as one of the main families on the series.
Yeah.
So we would go down there, and we would have became, the main cast with a new family.
Yeah.
But, it just wasn't in the cards that time for us. We had other plans and direction. Yeah. That's an example, though. Don't ever think that being a prima donna improves people's impressions of you. What improves their impression and what gets you work is being likable, being workable, and being professional.
Yep, professional, like you said, on time.
That's right.
Dependable. Just take direction.
Oh yeah.
Taking direction. So what brought you to Missouri?
So my main career, and to be honest with you, 99.99% of all people in the entertainment industry have a real job that pays the bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 1% that make it, the big stars, are literally that. You know, I knew all kinds of starving artists in California.
Yeah.
Good actors that were way up
Yeah.
on the day playing supporting roles, all friends, all had jobs.
Yeah.
But what made us move out here is my main job is an IT program manager. So I work in management of large computer projects. And so we moved from California to Colorado. I finished my college degrees, and then we moved from Colorado to Missouri.
Oh, okay. Colorado's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's changed a lot, though, unfortunately.
Yeah. So coming to more recent times, how we met, I don't know if we met before Downfall, did we?
I think we had met on a couple things. I'm not really sure, but I knew you before Downfall.
Okay.
I know that for sure.
Yeah. We did Sato 48.
That's right. We did
I don't know if that was
Psycho
before or
Girlfriend.
Huh?
Psycho Girlfriend.
Psycho Girlfriend. That's on my IMDb thing. You can see that. It was a fun project, just kind of a silly thing. Sato 48, if you don't know, Sato stands for Springfield Area something.
It's basically a film competition.
Film competition for 48 hours, where you have 48 hours to film, edit, and get it done for a 5-minute video, 5-minute short film. And they give you certain rules that you have to follow, things that you have to do, things that they have to insert into it. That way, it keeps people from pre-recording everything and having it ready before the competition. So they have to have that, like a clock at 10:30 or a chess piece or something like that. It's something silly. Anyway, and you have to, and sometimes they give you restrictions as to what you have to say. You have to say a certain phrase and fit it into the conversation. That's kind of fun.
An intense amount of work, fun, but boy, that
time
flies.
We worked
straight through,
late till early morning. Because it was a night shoot anyway. It was supposed to be a night shoot for most of that short film. Anyway, Psycho Girlfriend. Yeah, he played.
I was the vampire Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nosferatu, and I played. What was his name? The
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing.
There you go.
Yeah. Kind of a loosely based on that story. Downfall was a short film that we spent a lot of time on. You were the director.
Yeah, doubled as a few things. Yes.
Yeah, and actor as the trainer for the boxer, and I was the Russian mobster, low-level mobster, who is kind of the head over the boxing ring. It was an underground boxing film.
The best way to learn is to learn on the low-budget movies. Learn on the independents. There's not a lot of tolerance on the big movies for prima donnas and for people to make mistakes.
Yeah. Let's turn a corner and let's talk about your writing.
Okay.
He's an author. You got 3 books?
Yes, I do. I have a young adult novel. It was runner-up for Novel of the Year, and then I have 2 picture books.
Talk about them for a little bit.
Well, so my first novel, as I'm a Christian, and so I kind of have concerns about the market out there, I decided I'd write a book that was a counter to Harry Potter that would bring a Christian message. And so my first novel, Darla Jade and the Balance of the Universe, is about guardian angels that come down from heaven, a bunch of teenagers, and they save the world and the universe by restoring the balance.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the other 2 books are a picture book called Ant Picnic, where teach little kids how to count.
Yeah.
And I hide things in the pictures.
Yeah.
So they can look them up, and there's the same counting number. So,
Nice.
at 5, they'll find 5 hidden items in the pictures. And it's all about the ants going to a picnic and taking the food home. And it kind of, it's poetic kind of, and it goes to the beat of the ants go marching one by one, the way it kind of reads.
Okay, cool.
And the other book is called Map Time, and it's in a series of sidewalk chalk books. And two kids go out and they draw these adventures with their sidewalk chalk, and then they go off into these worlds, where they have these great adventures and do all these things that they've drawn.
So you got something for little kids, kind of preteens, and then teenagers,
Yeah, and then young adults.
Or young adults. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Guardian book, which is the Darla Jade and the Balance of the Universe, because they're called the Guardians. That also crosses over all the way up into adults. It's kind of like Harry Potter, but it's completely different.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah. An interesting tip, I think, for the viewers that they can maybe learn from. Because after working all these movies and roles out in Hollywood, finally a big budget came to Missouri. So I got kind of excited, and so I submitted, the headshot and the paperwork and everything, and I was chosen to read for one of the supporting leads.
Yeah.
And so I prepared for it like I would normally do, and I went into the audition and I laid it out pretty good. I mean, I really hit it. And the director came down from upstairs and came down to face complete the audition. Now, usually when that happens, that means that you've made it into the top 1%, because they wanted to sit here and play a bunch of different things with you.
Yeah.
Well, like an idiot, I got Twitter-pated, okay? Because
Twitter-pated?
That's right. I started getting stars in my eyes again, thinking, okay, I'm going to go get this big role.
I've heard that word before somewhere. I think it was some kind of funny word on a sitcom that I saw. Anyway, Twitter-pated.
Basically means you fell in love.
Yeah, flustered.
Yeah, and so I got nervous, and I didn't need to get nervous. I mean, that role was mine, and I blew it. I literally, when she came down to complete the audition and take it to the next second and third steps, we did pretty good on the second step and started moving into a lot more stuff, and I just blew it because I was nervous. And so the thing you got to remember in an audition, one, a lot of times they will call you in because of your look. Now, make sure you look like your headshot. I had a friend in California. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But don't worry about whether or not you're going to get the job.
Right.
Go in there and give it your best. Be an actor. And a lot of actors are like, well, should I do this? Should I do that? What should I do? Read the script and act. The director is not going to want somebody on set that asks them how they should do every sentence. They will give you direction, but you've got to bring the actor to the film. And that's why in making a movie, I also write scripts. I do a lot of other things, direct. It's a composite piece of work.
Yeah.
Your job as the actor is to bring the character with you.
Yeah.
To bring that skill.
And some people don't know this, that even though we're stepping into a role, a character, you're building a character, creating a character, you have to have a backstory in your mind. It doesn't have to be written out. If they don't give you one, you create one in your mind to understand this character and to bring that character to life. Backstory of where they've been, what they've done, what they're feeling right now, what they're doing right now, what they're going to do. And but also, I think in every role I've done, I bring part of myself to the role.
Yeah.
You always bring part of yourself because that's your experience to draw from. So if you've had a lot of experiences, that gives you a little more well of information to pull from.
Well, what it does is it adds authenticity. Okay, and I'm not saying don't talk to the director about the role, but you don't do it during the audition. They may say, well, I want to see this or I want to see that. That's them working with you.
Yeah.
You go in and you bring what you interpreted to the audition.
Yeah.
Now, when you get on set, depending on the level of you're a day player or you're an extra or you're, a supporting lead, then the director will talk to you about the role and what they're expecting to see and things, and then that's where you bring your interpretation of the role to meet their need for the role. And going back to the composites, your headshots. I had a friend in California that he was doing pretty good. He was getting, work here and there, and So he went to a new photographer, and he came running to me one day, and he says, "Oh, look at these headshots. These are unbelievable." And I look at the headshots. I'm like, "Dude, that's not you." He goes, "Yeah, it is." I go, "No, it isn't." He looked like Sylvester Stallone when he was all dolled up. He started getting auditions like crazy.
Yeah.
90% of the auditions he got, he went into the room to read, and they said, "That's not you.
Yeah.
Get out of here."
Yeah.
And I said, "You got to have a realistic picture.
Yeah.
Dolling it up with professional photography and everything is good, only if it shows you."
Professional photography showing you how you are.
That's right.
But not a lot of makeup or hairstyling or whatever you look like now.
That's
like
right.
for guys, I have a clean shaven headshot and I have a bearded headshot. Let's talk about stuff you're doing now or planning on doing in the future.
Yeah, so I got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm also an evangelist, and so I've got that going too.
Yeah.
But I think probably sometime this fall, we're going to shoot one of the short films that I've written called Foxhole Faith. This is about soldiers when they're facing death on a battlefield. You'll never find an atheist in a foxhole.
That's an old saying.
That's right,
Yeah.
And it's actually true.
To us Navy guys, it doesn't make much sense. But anyway.
Well, I'll bet you if you're on a life raft with sharks, you wouldn't find an atheist.
I've never. Yeah, that's true.
You know, or on one of them floating donuts.
Although on my first ship, it was a small ship, about 500 feet long, and a destroyer, and we hit some really rough hurricane-like seas, and 40-foot swells and things like that, and the ship would be rocking this much, and if it's your first time, it's kind of harrowing, but after a while you get used to it. You get your sea legs, you just lean with it, lean against it, and you just keep going.
Kind of like Weebles, huh?
Yeah. I only got seasick the first time we went out, and after that I learned how to manage that, and you get your sea legs, and it's nothing now after that. Yeah, Foxhole Faith. What do you plan on? What's the time frame on that? Do you know?
Well, I've been thinking about it. Depending on how things go and timing, I think I'll probably move it into a shorter feature. That would be good. And I think probably late fall, maybe. There's a lot of stuff to do, and I've got a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah.
But really, I think the essence of this, and I write a lot of scripts, and this is just one of the 30 or 40. But the essence of this is, what is the real truth when there's nothing else left? What is the truth when you're finally down to the point where you're looking in the mirror and the breath of death is upon your face?
Yeah.
And I think it's a message that's important for people to understand, because if you wait until that time happens, is it too late?
Yeah. So since this show is about creativity, what advice? You've given a lot of advice already, but about creativity, being creative in all aspects of your life, for people who are not in the entertainment industry. There are a lot of creative people, like my wife, for instance. The decorations in here, and she can cook something, make something without a recipe, and she'll do it a little different every time. She has creativity in the kitchen, making food, and she's a phenomenal cook. But anyway,
so I'll see Steve for dinner tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. So how does creativity? Well, of course, that's obvious. Writing scripts and writing books, you've got a lot of creative things in your head. How does creativity play into what some people call mania? Are you one of those that kind of has a ebb and flow? Or are you bipolar like some people in this industry are, where I get depressed easily, and then I have the sense of euphoria. I'm not diagnosed bipolar, but I think that's kind of the artistic mentality, the artistic temperament.
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of us.
Well, so I'm not bipolar, but I am round like a polar bear. But so let's get to some facts.
Oh, by the way,
guys.
you know the Earth is bipolar. Never mind.
There we go.
That's a dumb
So
joke.
I want to lay out a couple facts, and frankly, I'm going to tell you the truth. Creativity is not going to do jack for you if you don't have the drive to do the work and get it done.
Yeah, if it's all in your mind.
That's right. There's millions of creative people all over the place that have gone nowhere. Mm-hmm. First thing you need to do is do the work. And so I'll walk down a list of different types of advice to help folks, because we were talking about writing. Mm-hmm. Let me start with writing. The biggest problem with writers to finish the work they're doing is they edit. They'll go in, they'll write one day, and they'll get 5 pages done. Next day they'll go back and edit those 5 pages. Big mistake. Write your full draft, especially if it's a novel, all the way through. Do not edit it. You will never
Until you get
finish the book.
I see.
I can assure you of that. However, add pages. So when I write my novels, I add pages, a character page, location page, and when I'm going through and writing the novel, the character changes. I put the characteristics under the character as I go forward. Mm-hmm. Put the locations on the location page as I go forward. Then when I get done, I come back in and I add in the changes that I found. And when you're writing, you need to start with an outline. It gives you you a skeleton and a path, but you come back in and you will notice that the story has taken its own life. Yeah. And it's breathing its own pathway. And that's what you got to follow. Yeah. But you can come back in, you'll forget that the main character has blue eyes. If you don't write it down. Or you'll forget that his girlfriend slaps him upside the head when he looks at other girls if you don't write it down. So
continuity.
That's right. Yeah. Continuity in film is a big deal as well. But you got to get out and do the work. Yeah. So you write your draft all the way through. And same thing, it doesn't matter if it's a short story, it's easier, poem, easier, but you write it all the way through and then go back and edit it. Yeah. And when you edit it, you may, my book that I wrote, I probably edited it 6 times after I got done with it.
And do you have someone else look at it and edit it as well?
It depends. If you work with publishers, I would also recommend that you do not self-publish unless you just want a book published. Yeah. There's just self-publishing is a profit racket for a lot of companies. You're better off to just get a real publisher. Unless you just want to publish something, or a lot of people self-publish, you can't get a publisher. Mm-hmm. But the real key to everything is get what you want done and then accept it. Stop. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a point where it's good enough.
Yeah. At the last minute, I want to mention this just to prove that he's a little crazy.
I've been born crazy.
He's running for Congress. Is that?
That's right, U.S. Congress.
U.S. Congress. I thought you Missouri Congress. Okay, never mind.
I'm going to go up there with those crazy people in Washington.
You're really asking for it now.
I think that's an understatement.
When is that? In 2000.
2022 is the election. Yeah, so just started up, and I'll put it to you guys straight. I'm a Christian. I'm sick and tired of what's happening up there. We have got to get up there and actually take America back, literally. And so in order to do that, just like with you guys' careers as actors, careers as writers, your careers with your regular jobs, you have a stake in the future of your life. Mm-hmm. And you can't just let that be yanked out from underneath you. Mm-hmm. Every one of you is responsible to make a difference that can affect the circumstances and the direction of where our country's heading, and give your own children a better stake in life. It's time to quit setting back. It's time to actually get something done.
Well, that can be done on a local level.
Yes, it can.
Or a state level, a regional level as well. It doesn't have to be in Washington, D.C. You don't have to.
Well, and you don't have to run for office. I mean, you can support a candidate, or you can go to the school board and oppose some of the things they're trying to teach our students. So there's no reason why everybody can't do something to make life better.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in. I really enjoyed our talk, and thanks, Derral.
Thank you, sir.
Bless you.
And the best of luck to you.